Initially, it was easy to doubt the depth or richness of a plot described as a courtroom drama. The premise of the film promises a binary ending. She either did it or she didn't. Anatomy of a Fall follows a story of Sandra's adjudication upon the suspicious death of her husband. The only potential alibi, Daniel, her son, is partially blind and was not in the vicinity when the fall presumably happened, and yet discovers the father's body after shakily wandering in the snow with, who I think deserves an Oscar, Snoop. We were brought into the room where her son was interrogated about where he was and how much he could hear given where he was, tested, demonstrated, and doubted by the adults in the room, who were frustrated at the lack of information they can soundly gather. It was doubly frustrating to the audience to see Daniel struggle with his testimony. Why can't he get his story straight? Does his mother's innocence hang in the balance of his testimony? Given his shaky account of events, was she manipulating him to protect her? And is this film going to reveal a twisted psyche he inherited as this potential murderer's son? The reason why this film is so captivating is because none of these questions get answered. If you watch the film, you might be thinking, no. The answer number 2. His mother's innocence hangs in the balance of his storytelling. As the calm, serene moments devolve into rickety fits of aggression, of anxiety between the couple and members of the courtroom, the characters of Anatomy of a Fall experience an exposition so revealing and uncomfortable because it mirrored the lack of control one really has over their own life. A theme I believe was being explored in the film. It was honest, it was real, and that made it scary. What transpires in an individual's home is complex, heavy with responsibility and struggle, and when it comes down to it, we are all doing our best, just without witnesses or without an audience. Sandra wasn't only asking the judge and panel to believe her, she was asking us to.
Aren't you? Because sometimes when you look at me, just like right now, I can feel that you are judging me. I don't know what you think.
The same way a friend ultimately would, or the way we trust a friend to trust the stories we tell. Unless it was just me, you couldn't help but wonder if people would believe you if your private life was under scrutiny so suddenly. Which brings me to the broad exploration of the subjectivity of experience, and by that nature, storytelling. Even if we deny it or plead innocent in the eyes of our loved ones, we are all unreliable narrators. Trusting that the person listening trusts you. I'll never really know what you had for breakfast, but if you tell me bagel, I'll assume that's true. You could lie about what was in it, the kind of bagel, the time that you had it, and I wouldn't know. I wouldn't ask, I wouldn't question you either. Sandra would normally have had the freeing space to choose what she includes in a story, especially being an author, the same way we can author that story for ourselves in our personal lives, but not in a courtroom dissecting her husband's psychiatrist, private recordings she didn't know about, and even her published works. How horrifically vulnerable she suddenly needed to be in a room of strangers. In a poignant, meta way, her own stories that she told in writing were put under a microscope, questioned, judged. Her character, or salvation of it, rests on the believability of the stories she tells in that courtroom, and as an author no less. And what a world Justine Triet created. Misunderstandings and mistrust that brew amidst a language barrier, the act of one-sided perspective, and the hazy recounting of events that rely on memory and its retelling. The lines between fiction and reality were blurred, even going so far as to use the pair of actors' real first names for the movie, Sandra and Samuel, and were left to type into a search engine after watching. Was Anatomy of a Fall based on a true story? We see ourselves in Sandra and Samuel, or our parents and friends. Triet, through this plot and with incredible nuance, does not rely on the telling of moral right or wrong, truth or deceit, but challenges our individual bravery to question the truth in the way we live and the people we love. In the arc of their relationship, for me, it ends on a statement of, "I love you and I think you're wrong." Triet says, I believe in the continued effort to say that. I love you and I think you're wrong. A testament to the success of the performance, filmmaking, and writing, Anatomy of a Fall created believability in their story in real life. For those who have been trying to find the answer to the question we asked throughout the runtime of Anatomy of a Fall, this exchange says it all.
Stop, Nick, stop. I did not kill him.
That's not the point.
Although, if I'm going to be completely honest, I wouldn't have thought that she did it until Kevin recalled the scene of Daniel's interrogation about the tape that distinctly placed him inside instead of outside and said to me, what if she moved the gaffer tape? You know what I mean? That might have mentally changed things for me. If you made it this far, thank you. I'll end this video with a notable exchange between Marge and Daniel.
Pour sortir du doute, on est parfois obligé de décider de basculer d'un côté plutôt que d'un autre. Enfin, comme tu as besoin de croire en une chose et qu'il y en a deux, qu'il y a deux choix, tu dois choisir.
Donc il faut inventer qu'on est sûr.
Oui, enfin, en quelque sorte.
Oui,
on
donc
peut dire ça, mais...
ça veut dire que moi je suis pas sûre. Je fais comment là? Là, ce que tu me dis, c'est que je dois faire semblant d'être
Ah
sûre.
non. Non, moi je dis décider.